This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hello and welcome to Iking Live. I'm your host, Señeres. Tonight we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, but in particular, our topic is enabling progress through entrepreneurial action. And for that, we have Enactus. We'll ask our guest tonight to tell us more about Enactus Philippines. Let's welcome Mr. Joey Leviste, an old friend, not old, meaning a friend from long ago.
That's right.
Welcome, Joey.
Salamat,
Okay,
Iking.
sige.
Salamat.
Tell us about Enactus. What is it?
Enactus is a new brand
Mm-hmm.
of an old product.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be called Students in Free Enterprise.
Okay.
And-
Sci-fi is
Oh,
it?
SIFE. And it started in the United States.
Mhm.
Its head office is in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, we had 36 participating countries.
Mm-hmm.
In the year 2000, it migrated overseas
Okay.
and found roots in the Philippines
All right.
and was, inching, all along in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
I personally got involved in SIFE in 2007
Mm-hmm.
when they decided that perhaps the program had to become sustainable
Mm-hmm.
and that it be based from the business sector instead of the academic sector. The people leading it before then were all good people, but they were supported by SIFE head office in the United States.
Okay.
The SIFE head office decided that the international program had to be sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
and sustainable means had to be self-funded, and so they suggested that maybe businessmen all over the world take over.
So here in the
This
Philippines,
program.
this has been going on for about 5 years?
Well, under my term, it used to be SIFE Philippines. When I took over, just to start anew, we formed a company, actually an NGO, called Filipinas SIFE. We
Okay.
used a different acronym, and this has been on since 2007. And I was actively involved starting 2008. And so we gave it a private sector thrust. We no longer support or get support from the United States. We are self-funded.
Oh,
Philippine companies
okay.
are funding this thing.
Okay.
And some of the current funders, sponsors, we call them, are in the annual report that my colleague Pat Alvero, our coordinator, has provided you. And so that is where we are now. Now, about a couple of years ago, they decided to rebrand SIFE
Mm-hmm.
because SIFE is not a good name in one of the African countries.
Oh, okay. A
it's
negative meaning, I
My
presume?
negative meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And so, since this is a global program,
Mm-hmm.
pinag-aralan nila kung anong dapat bagong pangalan. And kaya naging Enactus, Enact,
Mm-hmm.
which is entrepreneurial action. us, Enactus tayo.
Enactus.
Oh, enact
Okay.
us. Enact by us.
Oh, okay.
So kaya naging Enactus. But the philosophy is basically
It's a
the
good
same.
name.
Yeah.
So this is all about entrepreneurship, and your objective is to teach young people, students, the ways of entrepreneurship.
Not so much teach, but to give them a vehicle to practice it, no? The first thing, Iking, is this must be university-based. This is not for out-of-school youth.
Okay.
This is for university students registered in universities. And the university students need a faculty advisor who takes the lead.
All right.
Obviously, it's got to be supported by the administration.
Okay.
Then the university has, or college has an Enactus program.
How many schools do you have now participating?
Last year, we had 19 who participated, and 19 who competed, and 51 who participated. So 70 colleges and universities
What's the difference between competing and
participating.
Yes.
Ang participating, they attend the finals, which is basically a 2-day event, and or the competitions, the preliminaries, then the finals. And the 19 are the competing. They actually have projects. They actually present the projects to judges. There is a canned program where everybody at the same time has.
So there's a process of elimination there.
Yes, yes.
I'm curious to know, do real products come out?
Yes, yes.
They go into the market?
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
In the universities.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, the winner this year of the Philippine Nationals had two focuses. One, to make use on coconut waste products, in this case, coconut briskets. And the other is the make use of aquaponics.
Oh, okay.
And this is the University of Luzon.
Aquaponics, it's fish.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And this is the University of Luzon from Dagupan, Pangasinan. So they won, and they represented the Philippines in the Enactus World Cup, which this year was hosted in China.
So presumably, let's say charcoal briquettes, there's a real community that's making it now,
Yes,
and there are real people who are benefiting
yes,
from the new livelihood project,
yes,
and the expectation is it will stay in the market,
yes,
grow in terms of sales,
yes,
so that more people could benefit from it. Same thing with the fish.
yes, yes.
That's great.
As they say in Ilocandia, when Manong.
When so this is what you mean by sustainable.
Yes.
Mhm.
There must be no extraordinary intervention. It must
Okay.
use the principles of the free market economy.
Okay. What about the ownership of the project or the technology? Does it transfer to the community?
Yes, it is transferred by the school. Technically, the owner is the Enactus team of that university. But when they give it to their communities, I mean, there is transfer of technology, and theoretically, the beneficiaries continue.
Are there intellectual property rights involved?
Hindi naman, dahil these are basic technologies, no? But I would assume that if at some future date, something which needs to be protected, meaning something which is invented, then certainly patent rights will come into play. But brisket technology and aquaponics is, while not widespread in the country, is of fairly
So
common
it
knowledge.
doesn't have to be a new idea after all.
Hindi, not necessarily.
What does it have to be? It has to be, let's say, practicable and implementable.
Yes, and it must help the community.
Let's say in the case of charcoal briquettes, the team has to establish that there is a source of raw materials.
Correct.
And talent maybe, or
Yes.
skills.
But dito, the reason they went into that, because the waste of the coconut,
Okay.
they wanted to use it, so they used it for coconut coir. Then they use the charcoal, for charcoal briskets. But more important, they also solved the breeding of mosquitoes, which this waste material
Oh,
generally not
because
induce.
the husk attracted
Oo,
mosquitoes.
oo.
So it's like an anti-dengue thing.
Parang, oo.
Interesting. What about the fish? This is above water?
Yes,
Above ground,
yes,
actually.
yes.
So it could be done in the houses?
You know, I don't know. That's a good question. But
Okay.
if it's done in communities, certainly. I don't know if it's economic
What
to do on a house
varieties were
basis.
they raising?
You know, you got me on that
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
So
But I
maybe
guess the basic
tilapia,
varieties or
bangus.
tilapia, the basic Philippine varieties. So.
That's a good preparation for climate change.
Okay.
When well, let's just say when the floods will come, it may not be feasible anymore to grow something in the water, so you may have to have fish,
Elevated.
yes, above ground or above the water. Yeah, interesting. Previous years, who are the winners?
Mariano Marcos University.
What did they
The one-
produce?
Oh, they had a dragon fruit program,
Hmm.
introduced dragon fruit, and they used the penal colonies
Oh, interesting. Huh?
to grow it because they had to provide technology extension work, and it worked. It was good. My memory now escapes me, but different universities win on different years on specific programs. But if my recollection is correct, Mariano Marcos University, that was their project.
Okay, so you were saying there has to be a university or a college, there has to be a team, there has to be a faculty advisor, and it has to be supported by the school administration. Then what comes next is it has to produce something,
Correct.
something new, a new product,
Or something interesting, maski hindi
something
nyo.
interesting. So it's like a thesis.
In a way. And they have to defend the thesis.
Is it graded?
Well, the grade is first you compete.
Uh-huh.
And there are 4 leagues or 5 as the case
Okay.
may be. Yun ang the equivalent of semifinals.
So what do they win?
The grand winner, in this case, last year, University of Luzon represented the Philippines in Beijing.
Okay.
Because the World Cup was in China.
Okay.
That is the
All right,
prize.
All right.
Yeah, that is the prize.
So do they win money or objects, gadgets?
No, it's the honor of representing the
rights.
country. Bragging rights.
Bragging. But
rights.
the trip is all expenses paid.
Yes, that is the role of the National Committee, which I am
Uh-huh.
the chairman. That's why we raise funds from our sponsors.
So it's like some kind of a skills Olympics.
Yes, yes.
And what if they win?
If they win
If
the
they
Philippines,
win in the World Cup,
if they win the World Cup, that's the ultimate bragging rights. That means you've beaten.
that's the World Cup of Enactus, not
World
the
Cup,
World Cup of football.
No.
Oh, okay.
We just called it the World Cup of Enactus.
Oh, okay.
That's the final game, and so the Philippines participated. We are broken into categories, and then the finalists compete. The country with the most interesting project eventually prevails. And the judges are from all over the world. It's multinational judges, and every step of the way is judged with a fixed criteria.
Okay. What happens after the team or the university turns over the project to the community? Is there a mechanism to make sure that it is sustainable?
Theoretically, yes. But, we don't know if in fact that is. But that's why one of our suggestions in the Enactus programs of the various universities, kailangan merong incoming freshman, kailangan yung para
okay.
sophomore. It's like a basketball team, no?
Okay.
You have to constantly keep the program alive dahil hindi pwede panay seniors. Pag-graduate nila, wala na yung programa.
Okay.
So we encourage that this is annual. We have annual recruitment. Now, will they use the same project? Yeah, they may not. They may find something new in the project. They may expand the project. Can they resubmit it? Yes, they can. But, obviously you always want to have a brand new idea.
But the expectation is to sustain the project.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I constantly remind the colleges and universities, winning the Philippine nationals is just a recognition for the effort of all those who made an endeavor, and in the minds of the judges, both local and foreign, here in Metro Manila, that they should represent our country. But they're all winners when they participate. Why? Because they've helped their communities, and there's payback too. They meet people, they meet businessmen. I don't claim to know all the students, but I certainly know a lot of the faculty advisors. I certainly know some of the university presidents. And we have been very fortunate this year because we got the support of, formally, of Dr. Tati Licuanan, the chairman of CHED. She even graced our occasion.
Oh, okay. So you got legit
Yes,
recognition there.
yes.
Okay.
And Dr. Licuanan is very positive. And so there's more interest because the universities know that this is
All right.
blessed by the
Who are
government.
these kids? Are they business students, engineering students, or do you have a mix?
Generally a mix.
Ah,
And sometimes the program falls under the social development program of the university, some under the business school of the university, some under the School of Agriculture. It depends on the university.
do you entertain, for example, entries like mobile apps?
I have not seen a program yet on that, but we should.
You
We-
could,
we-
yeah.
oh, absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. How about climate change projects or disaster risk projects?
Absolutely. One of the participants this year, Miriam College, I just mentioned them because I know of their project. They developed a lifesaver which you
Okay.
could dismantle and function as a bed.
Interesting.
And then you repack it, and it just looks like a backpack, no? And they're a new team. Another interesting college is the San Carlos University in Cebu, who had a version of mitigating climate change. No?
That's good. But there has to be a product.
Yeah, there has to be a product or a project.
But since it's entrepreneurial, there has to be a product that has to be sold.
Yes. Like you gotta solve. You can teach the penal colony how to grow dragon fruit. You can introduce new technology, but if nobody buys it, it's not sustainable. It's not successful.
So you get points if somebody buys it.
Oh, well, yes, because that's why it's become that's why it becomes entrepreneurial.
Okay. So you need to have marketing students there also.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What about the advertising and the packaging and the labeling?
Normally, it's done on the local level. This is not. We haven't had a project which is national in scope, no. But they do packaging in their own communities, no? And normally the projects are related to the communities where they're at.
So can it be a restaurant?
Yes, I've not seen such a project, but once upon a time, a couple of years ago, I judged in a competition in Hong Kong.
Okay.
The one who won that Hong Kong competition was a restaurant who recycled the food.
So there has to be something new.
Yes, and the food they recycled, they threw away the food that was, not safe. Yung nakainan na, yung hindi bibigay sa tao. They had a system, the students repackaged the food because the particular restaurant
Okay.
was high-end and they do not keep
Okay.
food overnight.
Okay.
And there was a system, this was delivered to the poorer communities of Hong Kong,
Okay.
and they were the ones who
So
won the...
there's always a social element.
Yes. Oo, kailangan yon.
So would we be right to say that you're always into social enterprises?
Absolutely.
Okay. So one example would be, for instance, collecting used cooking oil, turning
Pwede.
it into diesel oil,
Pwede.
or collecting food waste, turning it into a fertilizer thing.
Pwede.
Okay, so it's not just the money.
No. Quite to the contrary. The money is the oil that fuels the machine. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng subsidized by the school or subsidized by the government. No, it's not really an entrepreneurial thing if the local government officials just give money to the students.
But is it always environment related?
Well, generally, especially lately, because the students, the young men and women of our country in the colleges and universities are more and more environmentally sensitive.
That's good.
Yeah.
So this could actually be a vehicle to make students more aware
Absolutely, yes.
of the
yes.
environment,
Yes,
sustainable development, climate change, and disaster
Absolutely,
risks.
yes.
Interesting. Where do you have your contests? Are these local? Do they have to come here or?
Yes. The last few contests were done at SMX.
Okay.
We used to do it in a five-star hotel, but we realized it's
So
cheaper.
the teams have to come here.
Oh yeah,
they have
at
to
their
be-
own expense.
At their own
Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe funded by the communities or the
Or
universities.
the university itself. Yeah.
What do you spend on? The prices?
We spend on the secretariat.
Mm.
We spend on doing the contest. We spend on setting the teams abroad to compete, and there is a prize. No, the team, only the champion team can represent the Philippines. No, sila ang magdadala ng bandila natin. Okay, but yung coaches or the faculty advisors of number 2, number 3, number 4, we invite to attend the World Cup.
Interesting. What you have is like an expanded science fair thing.
In a
Yeah,
sense.
more organized,
Uh,
more focused.
uh,
I really wish you luck there, Joey, and I'm
Good.
glad you're the one on top.
thank you, Iking. Yeah.
I think they couldn't have found a better man for that. Are you enjoying your job?
Oh, absolutely. I love this. I love this. Well, my day job really is I'm the local chairman of Oceana Gold. And I am fortunate that Oceana Gold is backing this up fully and focusing on the universities where it operates. No, These are the universities in Nueva Vizcaya, Quirino, Cagayan, Isabela, and Batanes. It's in Region 2. But in fairness, there are other major sponsors like EEI and Sagittarius Mines is a major sponsor. Delta, which is a construction company, is also a major sponsor. The Ramos Group, the Atas Consolidated Mining, is a sponsor. And the Alacor Securities, which is a stock brokerage house. But the most interesting sponsor is National Bookstore.
Why is that?
Because it's directly rated.
Student-oriented.
It's student-oriented.
So you're not wanting for sponsors.
Hindi naman. You have to also market the product, and if you notice, I went out of my way to mention all the sponsors.
Of course.
And of course, looking for other sponsors to sustain it because sponsorship is also cyclical. Some come in, others fall out. We're talking to a couple
Quite possibly, these kids are also maybe the cream of the crop from the schools where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
And they could be possible recruits
Yes, yes.
into the companies.
Yes, yes.
So these are college kids.
Yes.
Okay, and some of them, as you said, could be graduating.
The probability of getting a job is higher from our experience if you went to the Enactus program. Because that means for 4 years you're exposed to competition, for 4 years you're exposed to new ideas, you're exposed to business.
4 years.
Well,
you mean to tell me a team has to be involved, a team member has to be involved for 4 years?
No, doesn't have to be, but if you're in college, it's a 4-year, 5-year course. You can technically keep on being part of the team, no?
Huh.
Oo. And, teams come and go, or rather students come and go, but the Enactus program is supported.
So, all in all, like in a given year, 2014, how many students are part of it everywhere?
In the whole world, about 65,000 students.
Here in the Philippines?
Last year, we had about 450 students attend our finals. But that does not mean there are only 456 students, I think, who are actually involved. Because may mga hindi sumama, mga hindi nagpunta, may mga walang budget, may mga nanonood
Meaning the
lang.
year after, they could have a better team, they have
Sure.
better financing,
Yeah.
they'll probably join.
But let me add, though, there is something very interesting in this program. in a sense, I'm disappointed, but in a sense, I'm glad. The big universities are not involved.
Why is that?
I don't know. For some reason, the UAP schools are not involved. But except for Adamson. UST was involved initially. I'm still trying to get Ateneo, LaSalle, UP involved, NU, UE, FEU.
I think it's a selling job.
Yes, yes.
You just tell them this is as exciting as basketball, they'll probably jump in.
Or women's volleyball.
Or women's volleyball.
Yeah. But that's a sense disappointing. But I tell you the good news. Most of the universities are from the rural areas.
That's good.
I mean, you meet people like the University of Antique and, the Sultan Kudarat universities and their various campuses. And you can see the energy they have, the feeling they have. And some people have explained to me there might be more opportunities for CSR in the rural areas.
Who's gonna do the CSR? The school?
Them. The Enactus team, the Enactus
Oh,
program.
their own CSR.
Yes, yes. That's part
Could
of
they
the
be sponsored by a local company?
They could be. They could be.
So in theory, it could be the CSR of the sponsoring company.
Well, but the sponsoring company, like Oceana Gold, we don't want to tell University, Nueva Vizcaya State University what to do. But we host regional meetings in Nueva Vizcaya State University. As a matter of fact, just earlier this month, we had such a function. No, I normally go to all these events, but this particular time, I couldn't make it because I had conflict in Manila. So our people, in this case, our senior vice president for CSR, Ramoncito Gusar, handled it. No. Our country director, Brad Norman, is also deeply involved
So
in
you
the
have
program.
how many teams this year?
Participating and competing 70,
70.
51.
What would expansion mean to you? 700 teams?
Oh, wag.
What's
There's
the
about
good figure?
1,700 colleges, universities in the Philippines. If we had 10% of it, we'd have
So
170.
200 entries would be great.
200 entries would be fantastic. It will be overwhelming. But we're one of the bigger programs. No? We are a medium-sized program. By the way, we're part of the Asia-Pacific group, which is Japan, Korea,
Okay.
Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia. We call it ASPAC. The world is divided to different regions.
Okay.
I myself have taken a particular interest in linking with the Latin American countries because the Philippines is part of the Latin American group in the World Bank historically.
We're Latinos.
We're Latinos. So, I'm in close touch also with the
Okay.
Latinos.
Well, maybe you have to come back here and let's talk about sustainable development,
Sige.
sustainable mining. Meanwhile, we have to say goodbye after not seeing each other for
Yes.
so many years. But thank you.
Sige.
It's good
Salamat,
seeing.
Ike. Thank you for
Alright.
having me.
Take it away, baby.
Thank you.